All right, welcome back to the Taillight Podcast. My name is Steve Unruh. I am your investor property specialist, real estate agent, and you know, W-2 hater. Yeah, I don't enjoy it very much. I remember being a W-2, and I didn't really enjoy it very much as the years went on because I look around and I talk to other people that are involved in their W-2, and I realize I get stories told all the time, whether you're at some outing that they're hardworking professionals and they feel like they're doing everything right, working long hours, contributing to their retirement account. You can imagine paying their bills, staying responsible, staying out of trouble. And despite all those years of everything that they've done, they they still feel financially stuck. They don't know where to go. And they're getting a little bit they feel like the American dream is slipping out of their fingers. They feel like they don't really they're not capturing everything. They're not living their best life and they're getting more stressed out. And especially now in 2026, there's a little bit of uncertainty in the air. And so I was talking to some people. It's not retirement season. It's open house season here in Michigan. And I was talking to some people at open houses, and I don't bring it up. They know what I do, so they come to me and start talking about different things. And of course, the economy comes up, and they feel like they've worked more hours. They're making more money. If you were talking about the salary that they have now, they would have said, "Yes, this is what I aspire to have," but they make more income, but the money isn't going that far. We all know the reason why. It's inflation. It came back to get us. I think it was in 2022. It shot back up. And they feel more stuck. They feel more driven to have to go to work and anchored in less choice. I mean, their vacation time is limited. Their retirement definitely feels uncertain. And the idea of stepping away from work seems to be further away than ever. In fact, some are thinking, okay, some are thinking, well, I can never get away from my job, my just over broke, and I may search to another job to get it to replace it. And at some point, I believe you should never stop working. As soon as you stop working, you're going to, start dying. Stasis. If you're not moving, you're dying. But that's my opinion. I mean, you can only go to so many golf clubs, you can only go to so many shooting ranges, and you can only go on so many vacations, lay around and eat all day, right? You have to have a purpose. You have to have a very specific purpose. And go off on a side note, they've done longitudinal studies on societies that live the longest. And it happens to be, if I remember the study correctly, this is years ago, Sicilians, Seventh day Adventists, and Okinawans. And the reason why, one of the common factors, I don't know if they're all of them, but I do remember the fact that they live longer and more joyful and purposeful life is because they have a purpose to serve their fellow man, and they get up and do things, and they can do it. Seventh day Adventists seem to, volunteer a lot in their church communities and so on and so forth. And Sicilians, despite all the eating and drinking that they do, and they say don't do that here in America, they're fit, healthy, and living great lives. So I think it's just getting up and having a purpose. But that's on a side note. That's not what we're here for. But you have to get up and have a purpose. I have a purpose. I get up. I love real estate. I get involved, and I like helping people out. I like having people make money and earn money with what I love to do. So if you're one of those people that ever thought, well, how am I going to live a long life? And, if you ever thought, I'm working harder than ever, but I'm not getting ahead, there's a lot of people that feel that exact same thing. They're not getting ahead, and fortunately, you're watching social media, and that's really killing you. But that's not true. The problem, it really isn't necessarily that you're not working hard enough. Clearly, you're not saying you're lazy by any stretch of the imagination. If you notice, you could probably work as much as you want, and you're still going to be stuck in the same spot. I know how that is too. And the problem may be that you've been taught to rely on one income source. You're from your job. You're just over broke. You're not from multiple income sources. Nothing that seems to run parallel with what your goals are. To make money while you sleep, to make money while you're doing things. and while you're watching many other expenditures, other sources taken from that one single source. So, but most people believe that financial freedom comes from earning more money, and that's not necessarily true. It actually, you got to be able to create more options because you can come from various sources such as tax breaks, you know, passive income, for example. There's a couple right there. And ultimately, the goal really isn't for you to quit your job tomorrow and get this in again, get quick rich scheme. That isn't the goal. That's a scam. I'm pretty sure it worked for some people. With most people, it doesn't work that way. The goal is to build choices so you no longer dependent on a single paycheck, right? A single paycheck, or taking your paycheck and pushing it off to somebody else, and they make money while they sleep and you don't make much at all. Sound familiar? Right? So instead, we're just going to try to give a very clear roadmap to why this is happening and how to get out of it. So we have, if you think of all the financial pressures that you have your mortgages, you have your car payments. If your kids are younger, you're talking either daycare, which I remember when I was doing, my wife and I were doing daycare, our daycare bill was higher than our mortgage payment. And we even discussed for a while that one of us two may have to quit a job to take care of the kids, because think about it, you're getting paid the amount for the daycare instead of paying somebody else. But we chose not to, and we just scrimped and saved, and everybody else made money off of our backs. We weren't very happy back then, but it was just like, well, this is just part of life. Didn't have to be, but it's what we did. Or if your kids want to get involved in that ever expensive travel sports because they think they're going to go off and be, the next Michael Jordan, but you want to get them involved because I understand the peer pressure of having to get involved in things like that. How are you going to pay for that? I mean, could it come out of the same bucket as the same bucket that you're taking your car payments and your mortgage out of? Or unless you got some parents that are willing to chip in, I mean, as you try to keep putting money into 401 chaos, or do you stop putting money into retirement thinking you'll catch up later? But that's not designed like that. 401 chaos is designed to put in when you're young, and hopefully over time, your hedge fund manager is right. And when you become 59 and a half, oh my gosh, after all these years, he was right. Okay, well, now you take out and that money becomes less powerful. That's not a good game plan. So, and then all of a sudden, you have other hidden challenges that you're working is the promotion thing and staying to work and seeing if you're still going to have a job the next day. Those are some of the challenges that you're facing, and that puts a lot of pressure on people. And you not enjoying life because worrisome, even though you shouldn't worry about today, let today take care of itself. And tomorrow we'll worry about that. Tomorrow people worry about the future. And there's one thing when you got multiple incomes coming in, you don't worry about tomorrow. You take care of what is today because, well, you don't have to worry about tomorrow because you are being proactive and taking care of things that are going on today. So, and the question is, how does real estate create those additional income streams that you want to do? So some of the things is like I use real estate, whether I'm utilizing private money lenders, people who want to invest into some specific things. Like I want to buy this building. So I use other people's money. I don't use hard money lenders. I use private money lending to buy a building, and I give them at least a double digit returns on their investment. So I just borrow from regular Joes like everybody else, and to get some property and improve and then rent it out or sell it. Some of the other things is you may want to buy your own and start to rent it out. So you get the tax rates, you get the mortgage pay down, and those things like that, you don't have to be doing it full time. You definitely don't want to think about, well, like many people, I'm going to go off and become a real estate agent. Well, that takes a little time. And, you can do it part-time, you're going to get part-time results. So, but if you're going to keep your job, which I suggest you probably do for a while, and try to get involved in real estate, you can kind of do that. Let your money work for you. Make that money work harder 24/7 because you only got, 8 to 10-hour days and hours in a day for your job, and your money can work 24/7, right? Because you're going to trade time versus money. So a full-time real estate investor gives you that. You could be a full-time real estate investor, but have a full-time W-2 job. That's a very good option. And that's something I would suggest, especially if you're starting out. So some of the practical actions that can be taken is you got to start learning and positioning yourself for future opportunities. One of the things that I think, because people should be really, really potential investors should get knowledgeable in an area for which they want to invest. So if you want to start investing into residential homes, it's really free. Go on Zillow, go on other realtor.com things and see what people are actually looking to sell and buy, or maybe what they have bought on these properties. And then you kind of get an idea what's the value, or what people are actually putting up for rent. Or if you're going to get in the commercial space, use a LoopNet app if you can get on there and find out what property is going for and become an expert on it. And that's free. It's just sitting there while you're watching TV. Take your phone out and just start looking, and you start becoming familiar. And take note of things like, square footage, what neighborhoods they're in, maybe what school districts they are in, town, obviously the town, various things like that. And then you can come up with our criteria. And I have a criteria that I have a 13 I will not buy criteria. Like I will not buy in a school zone. I will not buy in a corner lot. I will not buy anything under 1,000 square foot. Now other people do, and that's fine. I don't buy anything under a 3-bedroom, 3-1. And other people do, and they make money. I'm just telling you, this is my criteria. You can't be so, you can't just let everything go. I buy everything. Okay, then you're just trying to wholesale, or you're an agent, you're just selling everything. But if you're investing your money, you got to have some sort of criteria. This is how you do it. Like I was talking to for example, today, I was talking to a guy who buys commercial property. I was talking, he's an older gentleman. And I was telling him about this commercial property I wanted to buy. It was smaller. He goes, I used to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I only buy commercial property. It's got to be 10,000 square foot or higher. Well, okay. I'm buying just 10,000 square foot or higher market. And I asked him, I said, where'd you start? Well, I started with those smaller, but you're only making $300-400 a month. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So what if I'm only making $300 or $400 a month? You got to start out from someplace. It depends on where you're at. It's from your point of view, right? It's from your anchoring point of where you're sitting at. I mean, if you could start out buying a 10,000 square foot building and make them into offices, or start renting out offices, that's great. For me, I'm like, I don't know that many people that like to rent out. Where the building I want to buy, I only need 2 or 3 people that want to rent for office space out of there. Not like 20 or whatever, 10,000 square foot. I have no idea. I've never been that big. But something like that, that's fine. 12 to 1,500 square foot residential home, I think I can get people renting all day long. That's not a problem. But that was my niche. That's where I started out, and that's where I grew up over time. And that's where I understood things. Then apartment complex is the same thing. You just got to work your way up. And eventually one thing leads to the other, but you're always making money. Okay? And you just got to, that's how you would start. And then that roadmap will take care of itself as long as you keep looking. I believe if you just keep hammering away at something and keep your eyes open and keep looking for things and keep going at it, it will come to fruition. Fruition, excuse me. I mean, I was a police officer. And when I became a police officer, I just wanted to find crime. And guess what? I found it. I found it whether I was on duty or off duty, or at least what I thought was. It depends on what you look for. If you're looking for stuff, you will find it. So I don't look for crime anymore. So I don't see it as much. I don't see it hardly at all like I used to. And I'm much happier for it, by the way, because I'm not looking at society as a bunch of evildoers or people who are up to no good. I look at everybody, they're happy go lucky, and that's all I see. And I look for properties that are distressed. And some reason that's all I drive around. It's called driving for dollars. I drive around. And when I drive around, I see a property that I have hits the criteria that seems to be distressed. I write it down. I'll send them a letter or a postcard and try to and see, it doesn't cost very much to do that. Put them on a list, send a few postcards. You don't get anything back, take them off the list, or you don't solicit them anymore. But it's worth an opportunity. It's worth a shot. Be a little proactive. You're driving around anyway. You might as well try to make money at it, right? Maybe somebody is trying to sell their house, right? So that's one of the things that I kind of do to get involved in real estate. So if you stay with me, then I'm going to show you why many hardworking people remain stuck for decades. And most importantly, the small shifts that you can probably dramatically change your financial future. They're not complicated strategies, and they're not reserved for the wealthy, of course. They're practical principles that ordinary people use to create more freedom and more security and choices in their life. So some of these things, such as when you want to, you're probably going for example, hey, I don't have any money. I don't know how to get started. I have zero money. And I don't know. And if I go to the bank, they're not going to loan me any money. You're probably right. So one of the things that I would start doing is, again, I'm going to read a couple things. I'm going to repeat a couple things. One, get on Zillow, get on realtor.com, start looking at things. When I say look at things, look at locations, look at property. It's free, and kind of start an expert. Try to go out there and find that deal, right? Once you find that deal, also at the same time, you're also looking for some investors that are actually doing some work, and strike up a conversation with them. Strike up a conversation. Hey, look, if I bring you a deal, will you give me X amount of dollars? And they'll probably be like, oh, of course I will. And if I settle the deal, now what was that deal look like? And you might even tell you that you're new, or you don't have to. I would probably just be honest and go, well, that's great. This is an idea. Or if you want to say, I want to get involved and I have X amount of dollars, like my minimum buy-in is $50,000. If you want to start with that, right? And you were to buy in and say, look, I want to do what you're doing. Will you show me? Because I do it. People who invest with me, they go, I want to do what you do, but I want to do it myself eventually. That's fine. I'm an open book. Invest with me. Hey, this is what I'm doing. I give them my updates. I say, this is how I obtained the property. This is how I'm fixing it up. These are the contractors. I get 3 bids on things. And we have an idea of what we're going to do by the time closing date comes around. We have a really good idea what we're going to rehab. I pretty much have a really good idea what I'm going to rehab before I even actually, buy it. I mean, because the most of them are pretty much, need fixing up. All these things are really, really simple. And then hopefully, because if you become an investor, if I've taught somebody to become an investor and they've gone on, that creates a community. And by creating a community, that synergy of that community brings in more things. So it's a benefit to you. There's no secrets to hide. And by the way, people have been buying property since who knows when. I mean, way too far back. So there's nothing new under the sun. The big thing is start kind of creating a crew that when you start going out looking at properties, because eventually you're going to, during a certain time period, you're going to actually run out of money, but you may come across more property. We'll shuffle it off to somebody else because, they'll shuffle it back to you. It's just the law of reciprocity. It helps out. And if they don't want to do that and they're going to be stingy with everything, well, it does come back against them. But I usually don't have that problem because I try to surround myself with great people. And you'll want to get that relationship with other people that are in your niche, because you cannot get rich or you cannot find freedom alone. You have to use other people to help you. Even look at everybody who's made it big. They always have somebody, or most likely multiple people, help them up through the ranks. With men, it's a ladder, goes up and down. Somebody that's better than them will pull them up. With women, this is what I study, it's along the same lines. It's different. The difference between men and women. So they'll be in a same group, but they'll all help each other out if you kind of along the same rank. where it's the other way around with men. It's somebody that's already successful, see a younger man or somebody trying to do it, and they'll try to pull them up the ranks and like that. It's kind of an interesting study, and it's been repeated over and over again, how different we look at things. So try to find a mentor. That's another thing. Get a mentor in your business, in your niche, in your area, or where you actually want to go. Like if you want to be in apartments, find somebody who's already in apartments and say, how do I get like you? This is where I'm starting. Because they probably started out very much like you, started out just buying a single family home, started with one, just like I did, and then moved up, moved up, moved up. And, by no means am I Mr. Multi-bazillionaire, but I am moving up, and I've had people help me move up and introduce me to people. And you're going to find some mentors that are going to come along and they're going to say, you're going to know you've outgrown them because you've surpassed them. And that's great because some people just get comfortable where they're at. And I have, my goals are pretty lofty as they always are. And I get real excited about it. And I have a lot of energy where some people are like, you know what? I got 5 or 6 properties, enough for my income. I want to just golf, take it easy, take care of these properties all by myself. And that's my life. Well, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I just enjoy it and I keep striving for more. So anyway, to round up, start looking on Zillow, start looking on realtor.com. To get involved, there's different ways of getting involved. You can become a private money lender. That's a good way to get your elbows deep into it without jumping completely into it. Start investing, start seeing how it's going, but have skin actually in the game of that particular project. That's a great way to get involved. And next thing you know, you'll have another property, another one kind of building up on it. So anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. And I don't know. I really don't have anything cool to say, but hey, have a great day. Thanks for everything.